We are back, and we were just discussing the SAVE Act and the new citizenship requirements that it would put into place. Now, the big issue, as I was saying right before the break, is not just should there be citizenship requirements, but also how they are supposed to happen. One of the problems is the distances people would have to travel in order to produce the citizenship requirement in person. If you live in Arizona, from Colorado City, Arizona to Mojave, Arizona, the elections office there, it would take 8 hours round trip to go and produce the documents that you would need to produce. And I actually wonder if Republicans, maybe they do know this, but they understand that this probably won't pass, should not be more worried about this. Look at the top 10 states where the lowest percentage of people have passports. They're all Trump voting states, every single one of them, from West Virginia to South Dakota. These are all states where more than half of the citizens don't have passports. And so if they don't have passports, they would have to produce a birth certificate. That's going to be a barrier to a lot of these voters who are probably Trump supporters.
Well, look, I think we have a lot of faith in people, that they can figure it out. People are smart. I think we have faith in our constituency. And I would also note that the act does allow some discretion to the states. And there's incidents that happen all the time. What if your birth certificate is in a fire? You can get a new one. There are ways of getting documentation.
Have you ever tried to get a new birth certificate?
I actually have.
And
yes.
Tell us about the process.
I was able to get a real ID and a passport. It worked out.
Right, but did you get your birth certificate?
It was when I was in college. This was a while ago.
Okay.
But I mean,
because I was able to get a passport.
But look, I mean,
and you also have resources to get it done.
If you get, listen, I'm not saying it's obviously not impossible to get your birth certificate, but
These
it's
things
not.
happen.
It's not something that happens in the blink of an eye.
It's not.
You sometimes have to go to county officials, even hospitals, to try to get the records. It costs money. It costs.
I think that
all I'm pointing out.
But that would be true for getting a driver's license.
Hold on a second.
it's not.
It's not true of getting a driver's license.
Not the same.
It's not. First of all, it's not true of getting a driver's license. You can get a driver's license that is not a real ID, that does not require your birth certificate. But also, let's talk about real ID for a second. Do you remember how long it took for real ID to actually become a thing in this country? Mm-hmm. It took 17 years because it kept getting pushed back because people couldn't do it in.
But we
not only
implemented
that,
it, and it's
but not only- but not only-
working.
but not only that.
17 years later, and it's
But
not.
people figured it
but
out.
hold on,
Maybe we
but-
should expect
but
more
you know
people.
What? Even to this day, you go to the airport, and because so many people don't have real IDs, they're like, all right, you can fly with one. You just have to pay us $45.
But not only that. I mean, people don't even understand the cost to the states. It's as if people just see something and they're saying, oh my God, we need to tighten up voting parameters to keep illegals or whatever from voting. But people don't ever turn the page. And when we're talking about turning the page, there's one thing that's very tangible. When you talked about, people getting driver's license or states that have voter ID, what those states also did was make those identification cards free. They had to. They had to waive it. That cost states millions of dollars to implement.
They should hear, by the way.
They actually will have to shut down systems because you cannot do this online. We're talking about people driving and doing this. And so that's one thing. The other thing is the historical point that people somewhat disregard. And I think, and I'm not sure that I'm not sure that you understand the historical consequence to what you're saying when you're saying that we should expect more from people or people will have to jump over this bar, because there are groups of people in this country that traditionally, and this is a moment of empathy that I think we can both see eye to eye on, that there are people in this country who historically have had to jump over hurdle after hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. There have been people, one second, Joe. There have been people who have died. There have been people who've laid on jailhouse floors. There have been people who were beaten just so they could have the franchise. And we've heard before, you should be able to read a literacy test. You should be able to drive here. You should be able to do that. I think we should start from a point of how do we allow more people into the process instead of the point of how do we restrict it. I didn't mean to cut you off. But
I was cutting you off.
I know, yeah.
Now, I've known you a long time.
Sure.
I didn't know you in 2011, 2012 when you were state senator.
Rep.
I imagine you had the same arguments, the same conversations as South Carolina implemented these similar voter ID laws. I imagine some of the things you said tonight, you could have said verbatim back then.
True.
And the net result, and then undeniable, the net result is that turnout increased in South Carolina after voter ID laws came in. It went from 56% to, I think,
I mean,
again, 65% and then
very
61%.
in the weeds, very in the weeds. Many of the states that have passed voter ID, I mean, one of the most stringent, if you look at ALEC, you look at all this stuff, Indiana was the first state to pass voter ID. What they did, though, however, was they allowed you to utilize things like a utility bill. They allowed you to utilize things like a college ID.
Right.
Save
So
Act
there
allows
was
you to vote every day.
so there
It
were
allows
other
you to vote
mechanisms
every
in
day.
place. So my point is, why are we tightening this noose around people when I mean, just
Can you-
simply
can the people,
why can't we do it
the
online?
polling
Why
would
can't you do it
suggest that
online?
people want this.
I think the
Why,
polling
so you're
also-
telling
The
people
people
that they're
don't want
wrong?
the
I
SAVE
think-
Act.
yes.
People are saying they support
I
voter
am.
ID. The SAVE Act is very different. And when you say leave it to the states, I mean, this is what happened
proof
when
of
they gutted
citizenship.
voting rights. This is what happened. If I'm going to leave it to states like Arizona, Georgia, when Brian Kemp was in office in Georgia, if you're going to leave it to states like that,
The
then
voter
he is-
turnout increased, right? That did happen. It went from
did.
1.1
So you're saying
million people.
83%
It went from
of people
1.1
voted.
million people in one gubernatorial year.
Do you know how
It went
many
from
people-
1.1
but
to
you know how
1.9.
many
That's
people
almost
waited in
double.
line for hours
Tiffany,
trying
literally
to
almost
vote?
double the amount of people voted.
Okay,
No,
let me let the judge have a
Let
second.
me also say,
You're from Georgia.
I
All
am
right,
from
30
Georgia.
The numbers are the numbers.
30 seconds, Judge.
1.1 to
But,
1.9.
Please, we have 30
but you're
seconds.
saying that in an isolated thing. There were other factors that increased the turner vote out. You
The
aren't
point-
factoring.
the
You aren't
argument was that-
factoring who's
the argument
running.
was
You aren't
that
factoring
this
what's
disenfranchised
at
people,
line.
that they wouldn't be able to vote. That didn't happen.
But
More
I
people
think-
Oh,
voted.
it did though, Joe. It did in Georgia. That's another topic for another
All
time.
right, it
But
very much is. We appreciate the robust debate about the policy here. Everyone, thank you very much for being here. Still ahead, Jane Fonda admitting that she has tried to talk sense into Donald Trump while lying in bed.